Well, today it's August 8th, 2021. We're going to have something very, very different today. Now, those who don't know, as I mentioned before on the previous episode, the roster members of Gatoh Move and ChocoPro went to Thailand to participate in a promotion down there called Set Up Thailand Pro Wrestling. Now, this is a promotion I never heard of, but they actually started out. They just had about 8 episodes, and fortunately, I found their YouTube channel where, of course, they uploaded the entire match and features wrestlers that we know: Tokiko Kiyahara, Hoshi Tango, CDK themselves. Now, we were supposed to have made Shrew come, but due to the fact that she was there, and we also saw Kappa Kozo showing up. However, you can still see the event in the ChocoPro watch party, but I prefer to watch it on the Setup Thailand Pro Wrestling YouTube page. Even though they talk in Thailand, you don't need to understand what they're saying, but it's self-explanatory, however they call it. But anyway, we also going to review as well AEW Dark Elevation with only 6 match, and of course we cannot forget, I'm going to review a much recent event from last month of July, dating back on the 28th to be exact. We have Black Label Pro with The Gangs Crosses the Line. This is one of the ones I haven't seen, but I'm kind of curious to see what took place. Now, if you haven't seen it, you're in luck. I actually will give a review and you guys can see it at some other time. But also, finally, we're going to do some news updates regarding certain things that have been going on in the pro wrestling, and I think you may enjoy it. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, let's begin with Setup Thailand Pro Wrestling. This is a new promotion I never heard of. In your luck, this is why Deleted Wrestle Zone exists, to expose and to get you guys interested in whatever wrestling promotion exists anywhere in the world. Now, some of you saying there really is pro wrestling in Thailand. It's universal. It doesn't matter where. Even if it's not big, at least it's growing. That's the whole point of the whole thing. Now, this particular event was in fact something that was already been discussed. Setup actually invited the roster members from Gatoh Move / ChocoPro to come by, and every event that they had. And let me go from, and this event is called episode 8, and then this was recorded on the 30th of July, but it wasn't officially uploaded until today on the 8th of August. So let's go from start to finish. Now, you guys probably, it opened up with the Idols doing at least 2 songs. Don't know who they are. I didn't get to catch the name, but it was pretty good. I liked it. However, they were in fact invaded by none other than that resident Uma Corporation lizard, Kapakozo. But however, this guy named Andrew the Statement Tang showed up. He had enough of Kapakozo, who's been causing nothing but problems for a month with Setup. So basically, he decides to take matters in his own hands, which he did. It became a match between him and Kappa. But however, things may not have gone his way, but luckily for him, he was able to overcome it because apparently Kappa brought his brother with him. I don't know which one he brought, but it did not work well for him. But he was able to overcome it and decided to put Kappa Kozo down to pick up a good win. Now, our next match we have is a hardcore championship match. Now, this title is from the Setup promotion. We have wrestlers I never heard of. There's Heed, Skyler versus Paksa versus the champion D-Man or Damien or however they call it. Now this match was insane. Now you could say hardcore matches are pretty hardcore, but however Paksa decided to team up with Damon in order to ensure he'd be the last two with Damon in order to end up, but it did not. However, it was Pac's son who picked up the victory with a jumping knee strike right in the face of Daman, and of course, it ended with him becoming the brand new setup uh, hardcore champion. Now, our next match, these are wrestlers I don't know of, but the first one, his name is Rawar Singha Jamunulwal against Jonathan Johnson. Now, this is a more of a, how do I say, a bit of the striking mixture with a bit of the kind of like a little bit of the Thailand kickboxing movie type stuff. However, I was like very impressed with this match because I never heard of these guys, but it was Johnson who walked out with the victory, and it was great. I think Johnson really was someone I did not know, but I was impressed. Next match, we have the Horrors, consistent of the Butcherman and Dr. Gore, who I mentioned in the latest ChocoPro in Thailand, taking on Bouchard and, of course, what's his name? Shivam, who is in fact one of the top guys in this particular event. Um, I was impressed with this match too because I was like, whoa, I loved it. It was very insane. There was a lot of submission. There was a lot of good things that were going on. But however, it was Pashap who got pinned by the Butcher in order to win the match. So basically, the Horrors got away with the victory, and it was good. Now, this is our next match. Is the only match that features women. We have the first ever Thailand woman named Machat taking on Tokiko Kihara. I thought this match was pretty good because it shows that hopefully we know we'll see the Thailand women the wrestlers can come around, but Tokiko really put up a good fight. But however, Macha was the one who picked up an upset on Tokiko. I would have assumed Tokiko was going to walk out as the victor, but no, it was Macha with amazing pinfall. It was really good. I commend them on this one. Now our main event is the Asian Dream Tag Team titles on the line. We have Monomoth and of course the current openweight champion Terry Diesel to take on CDK, Masahiro Takanashi, and Chris Brooks. Now in this particular match, you know CDK will do everything in their power to maintain the titles no matter what. Now Terry, he's not the easiest guy people like to get along with, but he is straight up solid. He will do anything to take those titles off of CDK, but unfortunately Monomoth actually was the one who got pinned submitted by Chris Brooks, and he had no other choice but to tap out. So that kind of ended in that way. So what do I thought about the show? It was pretty good. I like it despite the fact that I only had the commentary speaking in Thai. It didn't bother me because I enjoyed the matches despite of the language barrier. But it was good. I'm not gonna lie. So if you guys want to see it, you can go on YouTube, go to Setup Thailand Pro Wrestling, and you'll find it right there, and subscribe. I probably will see more of these when the time comes. But right now, let's move on to the next review, AEW Dark Elevation. Okay, we got AEW Dark Elevation. Our opening match is tag team action from the women's division. We have Sky Blue and Ruby Soho teaming up, everybody's fans' favorites, taking on Nikki Victory and Megan Myers. Now, you can say in this particular match that Sky Blue and Ruby Soho got this in the back. I have to say, this team really were much bigger of a cohesive. Now, keep in mind, Sky Blue will never forget how Dante Martin was viciously attacked by Sammy, and of course, she was attacked by Anna Jay and Tay Conti. So Ruby probably will take her under her wing to replace Anna Jay if that day comes. So we'll see what happens. But it was Ruby Soho who picked up the victory with Destination Unknown on to Nikki Victory, and boom, it was over. 1, 2, 3. Good night. Now our next match we have Parker Boudreaux, you may remember him as Harlan, along with Ari Daivari to take on Casey Carrington. Now, this was pretty much a brutal devastation match. You can say, well, Casey, in the name of the Father, Holy Ghost, you can rest in peace now. So, Parker actually brutalized him and gave himself the win. Next up, more women's action. We have Athena versus Queen Aminata. Now, Queen Aminata showed disrespect to Athena, but Athena, as you know, she is one of the toughest women we've seen. She will not back down from no crap from anybody, even if it's Queen Aminata. But she was able to apply the finisher that she normally does, the Eclipse. I don't know what she calls it now, but it's over from there. Next up, we got more on the women's division. We got Kiera Hogan and Layla Gray taking on Frey States and Alice Cromwell. Now, keep in mind, Kiera Hogan does not like Layla Gray, despite the fact that Stokely Hathaway was dumb enough to go ahead and recruit someone without consent from Jane. However, Kiera Hogan does not trust her. She doesn't like her. So basically, she's trying to fit in, but in the end, it was Kiera Hogan who walked out as the victor. But however, it's more like Kiera was getting more of the attention, and Layla Gray wants the attention herself. That it fits into that thing. But I wouldn't be surprised if Layla Gray decides to leave and join a real group. So we'll see about that. Next up, everyone's favorite group, Dark Order, Silver and Reynolds to take on TUG Cooper and Lord Crew. Now, this match, you know how it's going to be because we love the cohesive with Reynolds and Silver as always. They're always impressive, but it was their combination that allowed them to pick up the win onto Cooper. 1, 2, 3, it was over. You know it was right out of the back from them. In our main event, we got the Wingmen, Peter Avalon and Ryan Medet, taking on Ray Phoenix and Penta El Cero Miedo. This match, you know this is going to end in a big way, of course, with the Lucha Bros picking up a good win. As you know, they're trying to reestablish themselves, and that fits in. But it was, of course, Penta that picked up the win on everyone on the match. But, however, in the post-match, La Facción Ingobernable showed up. It seems that there's some unfinished business with them, so we'll see what happens in the future with them. So I think that's pretty much it what we got with this. I believe it's time for our last review, Black Label Pro. Okay, Black Label Pro with Gangs Crosses the Line. This took place on the 28th of July. Now I know it's a little late, but it's all I got. I decided, to review this one. It took me a while to do the same thing with others. But it opened up with tag team action with the tag titles on the line. Violence Forever put the titles on the line against Dan the Dad and Shark Boy. Now, for the record, I did not see the whole thing. Apparently, there was something wrong with the signal between where it's broadcast in Fight TV to the venue down in Nashville. But it only catch where, of course, Dominic Guarini and Kevin Koo were the ones that applied that finisher, where like the spinning kick, high and low, that allowed them to retain the title. So that kind of went in that direction. But yeah. But as soon as the match was done, apparently they wanted to give another beatdown to Dan the Dad, but Shark Boy gave both Koo and Guarini double stunner. Now, our next match, we have Billy Starks versus Steph DeLander. You may know her as Persia Parada. She made her she's been appearing in many wrestling events in the independents. Now, I know some of you are saying, will she ever go back to WWE? It depends if that's the original case. Until then, we will find out. But she did pretty good in this match, but Billy Starks decided to cross the line by applying a chair to ensure that this match goes in her favor. But the referee made the call to call it as a disqualification in favor of Steph DeLanders, but Billy was not a fan of what transpired. Now, this next match is Battle of the Cowboys. We have the Bounty Hunter, Brian Keith, taking on Sorry About Your Damn Luck, James Storm. I thought this match was good because we saw two sets of cowboys go toe to toe. Now, I was impressed with the ending, where, of course, both of them applied a super kick, but it was Storm who had a much powerful super kick that gave him the win. And, of course, in the end, both Cowboys rode off to the sunset to get some beers. That's how it rolls down with the Cowboys. Next up is a no disqualification match. We have Jake Something versus Crowbar. Now, this match, I don't know who the other guy with Jake Something was there. He basically was making sure things would go its way. Referee couldn't do nothing. Crowbar put up a hell of a fight, even brought in weapons. But unfortunately, it was Jake Something that walked out as the winner. He actually pulled it off. Next match, we have trios action. Team number 1, Speedball Mike Bailey, Crash Jackson, and Ratty Daddy Cole Bradrick taking on Jordan Oliver and the tag team Bang Bros, Davey Bang and August Matthews. Now, this match, Oliver showed a lot of good match cohesiveness with the Bang Bros, but unfortunately in this particular match, it was Ratty Daddy who walked out as the winner, giving them a much better opportunity to show who they are, even though they're from 3 different backgrounds. Next up, we got Big Damo versus Eric Young of Violence by Design. Now, keep in mind, these two know each other. If you guys don't remember, these guys met in WWE and NXT. They were part of that one group, but now they're no longer. So I was pretty much impressed with this one, but it was Big Damo that walked out the victor, giving them the match. He even picked up Eric Young. Now, Big Damo currently is not signed with anywhere, but he has been making appearances in the independent scenes wherever he goes. Next up, we got Kevin Blackwood taking on the Walking Weapon, Josh Alexander. What a match. I have to say, I loved it because it showed a little bit of the technical aspect. But it was Josh Alexander who walked out as the victor, showing why he is the Walking Weapon. And I think that tells us all. Now, our next match, we have Nick Wayne taking on Konosuke Takeshita. This match was awesome. I think it was pretty good. I loved it. Now, Takeshita even talked about on a Twitter page saying that Nick Wayne reminded him of him when he was young. Keep in mind, Konosuke Takeshita was only 16 years old when he started wrestling. So he knows what this means for a guy like Nick Wayne, who's 17 years old. And then I think it plays pretty well for him because he knows. But it was great. But unfortunately, it was Konosuke Takeshita that walked out as the victor. And I think Nick Wayne appreciated that he lost to a much higher rising star than everyone else. Now, our main event, we have the Black Label Heavyweight title on the line in a Monster Ball setting. We have Eli Everett versus Joshua Bishop versus Calvin Techman versus BCO, who was the champion. This match went crazy. Bishop was bleeding out. You can tell from the look of it. But Jake something attacked PCO along with his buddy. But it became a 3-way. But however, it was Calvin Techman that walked out as the victor when he pinned Joshua Bishop, and he is now the new Black Label Pro Heavyweight Champion. So I think this match event was pretty good, even though it was in Nashville. But I can't wait to see what other Black Label Pro events will be taking place. So I think that's pretty much it. So let's move on to our last thing, news updates. News updates here. Now, you may have heard, I may get some haters on this part. I want to say congratulations to Sammy Guevara and Tay Conti for getting married yesterday on the 7th of August. I know some of you are still siding with Pam Nuzio because you believe that what really happened, it happened. But there is still no indication what really happened. To me, as much as I think there, I would like to say maybe something did happen, but it did not. We haven't heard from the other side of the coin, which is Pam. But for right now, I want to say congratulations to Sammy and Ty on their marriage and all this and that. Now, a few things has come across in the world of WWE. The first one is coming, of course. It appears that WWE have an interest with Konosuke Takeshita. They said that his size is perfect, but it's still unclear whether if he's still under contract with DDT Pro Wrestling, because as you know, DDT sent him on an excursion and he will be wrestling independently. Now, many fans will probably say, no, Konosuke Takeshita is better off doing what he does. I think he probably would stay where he is because he'd rather go to the independents to wrestle. But yeah, now our next part of the WWE, Karrion Kross and Scarlett. As you guys know, last year those two were released from the company, but however, it was told that they've been on regular communications with WWE. However, because of Vince's resignation, retirement, this change of power played in their favor. Now, as you remember, Karrion did not have a good run with WWE under Vince's tutelage, but however, now that things have changed, now we're going to see exactly what we've been waiting for. Now, and related because of the whole power change, John Laurinaitis was quietly let go by WWE due to the fact, as you know, there was a possibility that he could have been involved in the whole scandal that Vince got himself into. So we'll see what happens then. Now, as if you guys should know, there's been talks about the upcoming Royal Rumble in 2023. There's been talk they want to do their next event in the San Antonio, Texas, in the Alamo Dome. Now they haven't gone into this particular venue since 1997 and 2017. So this is going to be great, but it's still no word yet, but we'll pay attention to that. Now, as you know, the women's tag team championships were vacant for quite some time, and apparently now we have a tournament taking place. We have Tamina and Dana Brooke, Io Sky and Dakota Kai, Alex Bliss and Asuka, Nikki ASH and Doudrop, Raquel Rodriguez and Aaliyah, Xia Li and Shotzi, Nikita Lyons and Zoe Starks, the only representatives of NXT 2.0, and finally Natalia and Sonya Deville. Now, this recently on Raw, they announced that Io Sky and Dakota Kai passed through the tournament, so they advanced. So we will pay attention who will walk out as the brand new WWE Women's Championship. Our final from WWE, we have, of course, it was reported that NXT UK Stars will be coming to NXT 2.0 soon. They mentioned the boys from Gallus, all of them. Wolfgang, Mark, and Joe Coffey will be there, and Charlie Dempsey. This is going to be very interesting to see. Now, we have seen the stars from NXT 2.0 made their way to the UK, but now we're seeing the reverse here. Now, changing the update, GCW has announced for upcoming events. They will be making their appearance on Charlotte, North Carolina on August 19th. They also will be making the return to Atlantic City, Atlanta on the 20th of August at the center stage. However, as you know, Dragon Gate Yamada, who will be making his return to the American Independence, will be making his debut in GCW soon. Now, there's still no further mentions of what's going to take place, but we'll see. Now, our last update, as you all know, I mentioned Christopher Daniels will be making his appearance in All Japan Pro Wrestling. Well, it turns out he's not the only one. We have Minoru Suzuki will also make his appearance. So does Joe Dorian. Now, Joe Dorian has been in this promotion before, so I'm kind of excited how this thing was going to be. So we only got 1 month away for this, and I hope everybody enjoys it. So right now, I believe it's time for me to call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, as you know, it's Tuesday Wrestling. We got NWA, AEW Dark, and NXT 2.0. However, I haven't watchprowrestling.org hasn't uploaded yet the latest 2 days of the 5-star Grand Prix. I don't know when that happened, but if there's anything new coming up, I will be reviewing that as soon as possible. But please be patient. But if I don't, I will stick with Tuesday Wrestling with NWA, AEW Dark, and NXT 2.0. And of course, if there's some news updates, I'm willing to share what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling. But for now, I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang.